deep in the lush, moss-draped landscape of St. Francisville, Louisiana, stands a breathtaking antebellum mansion known as the Myrtles Plantation, a place where beauty and tragedy intertwine. With its grand white columns, sweeping veranda, and ancient oak trees stretching their branches protectively over the grounds, the plantation looks like a perfect postcard from the Old South. But behind its elegant facade lies one of the most chilling and complex haunting legends in American history. For more than 2 centuries, the Myrtles Plantation has been called one of America's most haunted homes, and its reputation only grows stronger with each passing year. The plantation was built in 1796 by General David Bradford, a man fleeing trouble after participating in the Whiskey Rebellion. The land, rich and fertile, offered the fresh start he needed. But even in its earliest years, the Myrtles seemed touched by tragedy. Bradford's daughter Sarah would later take ownership, and over generations the plantation became home to numerous families, enslaved people, and workers. With each passing decade came new stories of heartbreak, sickness, violence, and death, stories that some believe paved the way for the supernatural atmosphere that surrounds the home today. The most famous ghost story connected to the Myrtles is that of Chloe, an enslaved woman whose legend has been retold countless times. According to the popular tale, Chloe feared she was falling out of favor with her master, Clark Woodruff. Desperate to regain his trust, she supposedly eavesdropped on private conversations and as punishment, her ear was cut off, and she began wearing a green headscarf to hide the scar. Terrified of being sent to the fields, Chloe is said to have baked a birthday cake for the Woodruff family, one laced with poison. Her intention, according to legend, was not to kill but to make the family ill so she could nurse them back to health and become indispensable again. But the plan went horribly wrong. Woodruff's wife and 2 of their children died after eating the poisoned cake. In revenge, Chloe was captured by other enslaved people, hanged, and thrown into the Mississippi River. Her spirit, some believe, has been haunting the plantation ever since, seeking forgiveness, justice, or perhaps something far more elusive. Visitors and staff frequently report seeing a woman in a green headscarf wandering the halls or appearing suddenly in doorways. She is often described as silent, watchful, and sorrowful. One of the most famous pieces of evidence is a photograph taken in the 1990s that appears to show a faint human figure standing between 2 buildings, a figure whose shape and clothing eerily resemble Chloe's traditional depiction. While skeptics argue it is nothing more than shadows and coincidence, believers insist that the plantation's history is quite literally captured in the image. But Chloe is not the only spirit said to linger on the property. The Myrtles Plantation is reportedly home to at least a dozen ghosts, each with its own story. Some of the most unsettling accounts involve the spirits of children. Guests have reported seeing small handprints appear on mirrors, hearing laughter in empty hallways, and feeling tiny fingers tugging. One recurring apparition is that of a young girl wearing an old-fashioned dress, who appears suddenly and disappears just as quickly. Some believe she is one of Woodruff's children, doomed to wander the plantation where her life ended too soon. Another chilling story centers on the murder of William Winter, a later owner of the property. In 1871, Winter was shot by an unknown assailant on the front porch. Mortally wounded, he staggered inside and attempted to climb the staircase, collapsing on the 17th step. Many visitors claim to hear faint footsteps slowly climbing the stairs before stopping abruptly, always on the same step. Paranormal investigators have recorded clear audio of this phenomenon, creating one of the most famous and consistent pieces of haunting activity associated with the Myrtles. Other reports include the sound of a piano playing by itself in the parlor late at night, even though the instrument sits untouched. Some guests describe seeing a woman in a long flowing dress floating just above the ground, her movements soft and graceful. Others have smelled floral perfume drifting through empty rooms or felt a cold breeze brush past them on hot Louisiana afternoons. Shadow figures are often spotted in corners of rooms or near the edges of the veranda, slipping away before anyone can get a closer look. Plantation's Mirror of the Morning Room is another focal point of supernatural lore. According to legend, this antique mirror holds the trapped spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children, who died under mysterious circumstances. Visitors say that ghostly handprints appear on the glass, or that blurry faces form in its reflection, faces that do not match anyone present. Despite frequent cleaning, smudges appear regularly, as though someone, or something, continues trying to communicate. Paranormal researchers who visit the Myrtles often describe the energy as powerful, layered, and emotionally heavy. They capture EVPs of whispers, full sentences, and even names. K2 meters spike in empty rooms, and temperature drops are recorded without any logical explanation. Some investigators claim that the plantation acts as a gateway, a place where the line between past and present becomes blurred, where residual energy from centuries of hardship and death loops endlessly through time. Yet despite its chilling reputation, the Myrtles Plantation attracts thousands of visitors each year. Many come seeking history, others seek the thrill of the unknown. Some walk away having experienced nothing more than an atmospheric old mansion, while others leave forever changed, convinced that the spirits of the Myrtles followed them, or at least left a lingering impression. Whether one believes in the hauntings or not, the Myrtles Plantation remains a place where stories breathe through the walls. It is a symbol of America's complicated past, the suffering endured by the enslaved, and the tragedies that shaped generations of families. The ghosts, whether literal or metaphorical, remain deeply woven into the identity of the home. In the end, the Myrtles Plantation stands as more than a beautiful southern landmark. It is a house of memories, some sorrowful, some restless, and others desperately trying to be here. And as long as it stands beneath the ancient oaks of Louisiana, the spirits of the Myrtles will continue to whisper their stories to anyone brave enough to listen.